What if I told you the world's most famous soft drink was originally sold as a drug, and one of its main ingredients was cocaine? Sounds like one of those fake facts people post online, right? Except, it's completely true. And here's the part that really blows people's minds. Nobody was trying to hide it. Doctors loved it. Scientists celebrated it. Even the Pope reportedly enjoyed a coca-infused drink. This wasn't some underground experiment. This was respectable society. And out of that strange little moment in history came Coca-Cola, a drink that went from pharmacy shelves to almost every country on Earth. But to understand why Coca-Cola ever contained cocaine, you first have to step into a world where cocaine wasn't considered dangerous. It was considered medicine. Let's rewind to 1886, because if you judge the past by today's standards, none of this is going to make any sense. Back then, cocaine wasn't lurking in dark alleyways. It was sitting in brightly lit pharmacies, right next to medicines people trusted. Need something for a headache? There's cocaine for that. Feeling exhausted? Cocaine? Depressed? Believe it or not, also cocaine. Apparently, the answer to a surprising number of problems in the 1880s was simply, have you tried cocaine? Today, that sounds completely ridiculous. To people living then, it sounded like science. Doctors prescribed it. Surgeons used it as one of the first local anesthetics. Medical journals called it revolutionary. Even Sigmund Freud, the father of modern psychology, published papers describing cocaine as a remarkable medical breakthrough. Let's just say that particular prediction didn't age very well. Cocaine even appeared in some patent medicines and cough remedies, including products marketed for children, because medical regulations back then were, let's call them, a work in progress. Then came one of the biggest celebrity drinks of the 19th century, a French tonic called Vin Mariani. It mixed Bordeaux wine with coca leaves, which meant every glass came with a little chemical bonus. It became wildly fashionable. People loved it. Doctors praised it. Celebrities endorsed it. In modern terms, it had excellent marketing. Pope Leo XIII reportedly carried a flask of it everywhere and awarded the drink a Vatican gold medal. History is weird sometimes. This is one of those times, and watching all of this from across the Atlantic was a pharmacist from Atlanta with a problem of his own. A man named John Pemberton. John Pemberton wasn't trying to build a billion-dollar company. He was trying to fix his own life. He was a pharmacist from Atlanta, Georgia, a respected chemist, a Civil War veteran, and a man living with constant pain. During the war, Pemberton was badly wounded in battle. To manage the pain, doctors gave him morphine. At first, it worked exactly as intended. Then it became something else. Like thousands of veterans after the Civil War, Pemberton developed a serious morphine addiction. Ironically, the medicine that helped save his life was slowly taking control of it. So he did what pharmacists do. He went back to the lab. He experimented. He mixed ingredients. He searched for something that could replace morphine without ruining the person taking it. Then he discovered Vin Mariani. Pemberton looked at it and thought, I think I can make something even better. And then, history gave him the perfect opportunity. In 1886, Atlanta and much of Georgia began restricting alcohol sales. That was a problem for Vin Mariani. But for Pemberton, it was an opportunity hiding in plain sight. Instead of wine, he used carbonated water. Instead of copying the French formula, he reinvented it. He blended coca leaf extract with cola nuts, a natural source of caffeine. One ingredient gave you a lift. The other made sure you noticed. He called it Coca-Cola. Coca from the coca leaf. Cola from the cola nut. For the era, companies weren't trying to hide their ingredients. If anything, they were putting them in the name. Apparently, marketing departments hadn't discovered mystery yet. Each glass contained about 9 milligrams of cocaine. Not enough to send someone into a movie-style frenzy, but enough to feel more alert, more energetic, a little happier, and maybe interested in ordering another glass. Pemberton marketed it as a nerve tonic, a cure for headaches, a remedy for exhaustion. He even claimed it could help people overcome morphine addiction, which sounds incredibly ironic today, because he was trying to solve one addiction with another. The strange part, almost nobody questioned it. Because in 1886, That's exactly what good medicine looked like. People often ask, was Coca-Cola successful because it contained cocaine? The answer is yes. But that's only half the story. Because if cocaine alone guaranteed success, every pharmacy in America would have become Coca-Cola. Instead, Pemberton accidentally discovered something much bigger. He didn't just create a drug, he created an experience. Think about what medicine tasted like in the 1880s. Most of it was bitter, thick. Sometimes it burned on the way down. Doctors basically looked at your face and said, if it tastes terrible, it's probably working. Then Coca-Cola showed up. Cold, sweet, sparkling, refreshing. It didn't feel like medicine. It felt like a treat. And that changed everything. Because now, people weren't forcing themselves to take their medicine. They were looking forward to it. Imagine if your dentist handed you a slice of chocolate cake, and somehow it was actually good for your teeth. You'd probably stop canceling your appointments. The cocaine gave people a lift. The caffeine kept them alert. The sugar made them happy. The bubbles made it refreshing. Individually, none of those things were revolutionary. Together, they were magic. Well, chemistry, which is basically magic, with paperwork. Advertisements leaned into it hard. The ideal brain tonic. The intellectual beverage. Delicious, refreshing, exhilarating. Nobody was whispering about the coca leaves. They were practically putting them on a billboard, because at the time, that wasn't the controversial part. That was the selling point. Within just a few years, Coca-Cola spread far beyond Atlanta. Soda fountains popped up across America. People gathered there after work. Friends met there. Families stopped by together. It wasn't just somewhere to buy a drink anymore. It became somewhere to belong. For every Coca-Cola, there were hundreds of miracle tonics that disappeared without a trace. Pemberton simply happened to create the one people couldn't stop coming back for. Unfortunately, success has a way of attracting attention. And before long, people started asking a question nobody had really asked before. What exactly is this stuff doing to us? For nearly 20 years, everything seemed to be going perfectly. Sales were climbing. More soda fountains opened every year. Doctors recommended it, and honestly, why wouldn't they? As far as most people knew, it worked. But just when everyone agrees something is a great idea, someone starts asking uncomfortable questions. By the early 1900s, scientists began taking a much closer look at cocaine, and the results weren't exactly great. More and more reports linked it to addiction, violence, psychosis, even death. The miracle drug didn't look so miraculous anymore. Newspapers couldn't get enough of the story. One headline after another warned about the dangers of cocaine. Fear spread much faster than the facts ever had, and Coca-Cola found itself in a very awkward situation. Imagine owning the world's biggest energy drink, called Cocaine Cola. Not ideal, especially when public opinion is changing by the week. Then came 1906. The U.S. government passed the Pure Food and Drug Act. For the first time, companies couldn't just throw ingredients into a bottle, make wild medical claims, and hope nobody asked questions. Honestly, it was probably overdue. The law demanded honesty, evidence behind every claim, transparency on every label. That was bad news for the entire patent medicine industry. But it was especially bad news for a company literally named after coca leaves. Coca-Cola had a decision to make: fight the future or adapt to it. They chose the second option. Quietly, very quietly. There was no dramatic press conference, no headline saying, "Good news, we've removed the cocaine." That would have raised a lot of awkward follow-up questions. Instead, they slowly reduced the amount. Year after year, little by little, hoping nobody would notice. And surprisingly, most people didn't. By 1929, the cocaine was completely gone. The drink had changed, the world had changed, and somehow, the brand survived both. Most companies lose the thing that made them famous and slowly disappear. Coca-Cola did something far more impressive. It convinced the world that nothing important had changed at all. But here's the part almost nobody knows. Because while Coca-Cola removed the cocaine, it never actually said goodbye to the coca leaf. So, did Coca-Cola completely cut ties with the coca plant? Not exactly. Coca-Cola still uses coca leaves. Today, right now. Before you start imagining secret cocaine factories, relax. The leaves are real. The cocaine isn't. Only one company in the entire United States is legally allowed to import coca leaves for this purpose. A company in Maywood, New Jersey called Stapon Chemical. Every year they process tons of coca leaves under strict government supervision. First, the cocaine is carefully extracted. That cocaine doesn't go into soft drinks. It goes to the pharmaceutical industry, still used in a few highly specialized medical procedures. Medicine never completely gave up on cocaine, it just became a lot more selective. Then comes the part Coca-Cola cares about. After the cocaine is removed, the remaining extract still contains its unique flavor compounds. That decocoinized leaf extract is sold to Coca-Cola, and it becomes part of the famous blend of natural flavors, which might be the two most mysterious words ever printed on a food label. Natural? Sure. Helpful? About as helpful as saying food. Coca-Cola has never denied this. It's not hidden. It's not illegal. It's simply not something they put in their commercials, for obvious reasons. Made with legally imported decoconized coca leaves doesn't exactly sound like the refreshing summer campaign they're going for. So, the story quietly faded into the background. Most people never noticed. Others assumed it was just another internet myth. But sometimes, the truth is stranger than the rumor. The Coca-Cola recipe still begins its journey, with the same plant that inspired its name nearly 140 years ago. The cocaine disappeared. The leaf never really did. So, why did Coca-Cola once contain cocaine? Because history doesn't happen with the benefit of hindsight. It happens one decision at a time. Today, it's easy to laugh. Easy to say, how could anyone think cocaine was medicine? But 140 years from now, people might be asking the exact same question about something we use every single day. Every generation believes that science is the final version. It never is. John Pemberton wasn't some criminal mastermind. He was a pharmacist, a wounded veteran, a man in chronic pain, doing what he genuinely believed would help people. By the standards of his time, he wasn't breaking the rules, he was following them. The real genius of Coca-Cola wasn't that it started with cocaine. Plenty of products did. Most of them disappeared. The real genius was adaptation. When science changed, they changed. When public opinion shifted, they shifted. When the law moved, they moved, without losing the identity people already loved. That's much harder than inventing a product. It's reinventing one. Today, Coca-Cola is sold in more than 200 countries. More than 2 billion servings consumed every single day. Not because of cocaine, not even because of the recipe, but because over generations. The company became extraordinarily good at selling a feeling. Refreshment, celebration, family, summer, Christmas, happiness. Most people can describe exactly how Coca-Cola makes them feel, without being able to describe exactly how it tastes. That's not a coincidence. That's the whole strategy. The formula may be one of the world's best-kept secrets. The lesson isn't. Coca-Cola didn't survive 140 years by staying the same. It survived by knowing exactly when to change and what never to change. One simple drink, one forgotten ingredient, and one decision that changed the company forever. History is full of stories like this. Everyday objects with origins nobody would ever guess. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe. Because next time, we're uncovering another product with a history even stranger than Coca-Cola's. Trust me, it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now.